Yo, are emotions and imagination connected to Haki and devil fruits? What are the mysteries surrounding Buggy's devil fruit? And what's the significance of Buggy's red nose? And what's the secret behind Sogeking's mask? Well, in this video, I'll tell you. But before we begin, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It'll mean the world to me and motivate me to make more content for all you amazing people. Anything a man can imagine is a possibility in reality. WIllie Gallon, physicist. I find this quote from chapter 218 to be fascinating. It makes me believe that WIllie Gallon, or Karen, will play a crucial role in the series. It also brings to mind what Vegapunk said about the devil fruits in chapter 1070. In that chapter's cover story, we see the people who were part of MADS, but the identities of the two older scientists behind them remain unknown. Could one of them possibly be WIllie Gallon, the physicist? After all, Einstein, a physicist, served as an inspiration for Vegapunk. In chapter 1069, Vegapunk said, "Each devil fruit embodies a different wish someone had for our evolution. If only I would do X, it'd be great if Y were possible." Fruit powers actualize these wishes, showcasing potential futures for humanity. We owe all there is to desire. The devil fruits face a totally alien reality born from boundless imagination. So in other words, he suggested that each fruit embodies a different wish for humanity's evolution. Eating a devil fruit grants one the power to influence others and realize their desires. The strength of a devil fruit is limited only by the user's imagination, as demonstrated by Luffy, Law, and Buggy. The fruits personify a person's dreams and will, and with enough imagination, anyone can achieve the dream they desire. This sounds similar to what Willie said about the imagination in chapter 218. What if Vegapunk was referencing Willie? This reminded me of Usopp's lies, which come true as a result of his vivid imagination becoming reality. Those who live freely like pirates have boundless imagination, while those under tyrannical rule may have their imagination and hope stripped away. While Luffy influences people with boundless imagination and freedom, I believe Buggy can chop fragments of a person's soul or spirit. He has the ability to acquire fragments of the soul or voice of everything present on the planet and potentially dismantle the planet's natural energy. He can chop anything with the voice into pieces. In chapter 1045, Luffy was able to affect the people around him with his devil fruit. You see characters like Kaido with their eyes popping out. I believe it's because Luffy's devil fruit was granting freedom to all the living things around him, which would allow them to defy the laws of physics and achieve the unimaginable. Everyone under Luffy's influence would achieve what their spirit desires or believes. In chapter 1044, Luffy spun Kaido in circles. Luffy was spinning Kaido so fast that you could see Kaido's eyes popping out. I think it's because Kaido's spirit was in shock. Kaido was able to express his emotions freely thanks to Luffy's devil fruit. This led to us seeing his eyes pop out in a comical way. This reminded me of the movie The Mask. In the movie, we see Jim Carrey and he does similar things as Gear 5th Luffy. His eyes pop out just like Luffy's. I'm pretty sure Oda was inspired by this movie. There's also a scene in the movie where the mask starts to dance and it affects the people around him, causing everyone to start dancing. In chapter 1044, the gorosei mentioned that awakening greatly strengthens the rubbery body of devil fruit users, granting them even more freedom. This kind of power seems to be shared by both Luffy and Buggy, with Buggy also being able to affect the people and environment around him, share his will with others, and influence the emotions of those nearby. In chapter 19, Luffy showcased his extraordinary devil fruit powers by stretching Buggy's face, revealing an early glimpse of the potential of his abilities. This foreshadowing is later fulfilled in Wano when we witness other characters being affected by Luffy's devil fruit. I think Buggy also possesses a similar power to influence both people and the environment around him, as seen in chapter 545 when he manipulates Mr. Three's face, causing it to split into pieces. This is shown several times in the manga during the Impel Down arc. Buggy's devil fruit along with Luffy's can affect the emotions of others. In chapter 561, Mihawk commented on Luffy's unique quality that attracts others to aid him. I believe Buggy also shares this trait. Both Luffy and Buggy have the ability to inspire people around them with their strong will. Each member of Luffy's crew has their own individual dream, but they all share Luffy's dream as well. On the other hand, it is likely that each member of Buggy's crew has their own dream, but they each share a common goal in getting revenge against Luffy. In chapter 19, when Shanks informed Buggy about the devil fruit on Roger's ship, Buggy alluded to the goddess of treasure. Buggy said that the goddess of treasure was smiling upon him. I believe Buggy's fruit, the Barabara no Mi, is actually a mythical devil fruit based on Tyche, the goddess of fortune and treasure. Tyche, a goddess from Greek mythology, held a divine authority overseeing the fortune and prosperity of cities, as well as their destinies. She was also the goddess of providence, change, and fate. Due to this, the ancient Greeks believed that she caused unexpected events, both good and evil. The goddess of fortune's Greek name was Tyche, and her Roman name was Fortuna. Taiki is also depicted with a sphere or ball, symbolizing the unpredictability of one's luck, as both the sphere and one's fortune can move in any direction. Taiki is also depicted with the Wheel of Fortune, implying that the goddess oversees the cycle of fate/destiny. Taiki claims that people end up blaming her for what happens to them, even when they are the ones accountable for their own misfortunes and mishaps. In a similar manner, Buggy placed the blame on Shanks for his misfortune with the devil fruit and map. It was Shanks who told Buggy about the fruit, and it was Shanks who saved Buggy from drowning. Buggy was in the wrong for trying to fool everyone into pretending to eat the fruit. However, it was actually Buggy's own fault for taking the fruit. The fruit brought Buggy good fortune, but due to his own greed, he ended up becoming an anchor and unjustly laid the blame on Shanks. Taiki claims that individuals often hold her responsible for their circumstances, even when they are truly accountable for their own misfortunes and mishaps. Taiki was known to be sensitive to criticism. In one of Aesop's fables, a workman had thoughtlessly fallen asleep one night next to a well. While he slept, he seemed to hear the voice of Taiki, the goddess of fortune, as she stood there beside him. "Hey you," the goddess said, "you better wake up. I am afraid that if you fall into the well, I will be the one that got the blame, giving me a bad reputation. In general, people blame me for everything that happens to them, including the unfortunate events and tumbles for which a person really has only himself to blame." Buggy's nose is a source of sensitivity for him as well. If someone utters a word related to the nose or even mentions his own nose, he may react violently and harm others. Both Buggy and Taiki are unable to handle criticism. Taiki appears in a handful of Aesop's fables. Each of these fables conveys a moral lesson emphasizing that every individual has control over their own destiny. Everyone is a master of their own fate. Being the goddess of chance was a two-sided coin. In another one of Aesop's fables called Taiki and the Two Roads, Zeus once ordered Taiki to show mankind the two ways, one the way of freedom and the other the way of slavery. Taiki made the way of freedom rough at the beginning, impassable and steep, with no water, anywhere to drink, full of brambles, and beset with dangers on all sides at first. Eventually, however, it became a smooth plain lined with paths and filled with groves of fruit trees and waterways. Thus, the distressing experience ended in repose for those who breathed the air of freedom. The way of slavery, however, started out as a smooth plain at the beginning, full of flowers, pleasant to look at, and quite luxurious. But in the end, it became impassable, steep and insurmountable on all sides. I think this is parallel to Buggy's path. The path leading to freedom is in the same direction as Laugh-Tale, a place that symbolizes the ultimate goal for pirates. Consider Buggy's journey as an example. He had the option to follow an easier path under Shanks, but instead chose his own free will. His decision emphasized his pursuit of freedom, in contrast to being a citizen constrained by the government's control, regardless of whether one is a marine or not. Throughout the story, Buggy is blessed with luck, but he later encounters some kind of ill fate. Despite becoming a Yonko, he finds himself at the mercy of Mihawk and Crocodile. Buggy also borrowed money from Crocodile, but failed to repay it. Buggy became a warlord, but the government eventually turned against him after the Shichibukai system was abolished. Buggy's thriving business, known as Buggy's Delivery, suffered a huge setback when Hajrudin and his crew left to join the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. At one point in the story, Buggy technically found the One Piece along with Roger's crew, but he didn't see it because he had the misfortune of getting sick. All these events I mentioned are all tied to Taiki and her influence over one's luck. Buggy is literally balancing his luck and misfortune on a ball like Taiki. He is blessed with some kind of fortune but is later stricken with an ill fate. Buggy's luck-based devil fruit requires a balance, where good and bad fortune are part of the equation. Buggy in his own way bestows gifts upon others. Taiki is known to be carrying a cornucopia, which depicts the fortune/gifts she bestows upon others. A cornucopia is in the shape of a horn, and you know who else has a horn? Buggy. I think he has a clown nose horn. The German word for gift, Das Gift, is poison. So Buggy is getting both the gift of poison and fortune from Taiki. The poison balances out the luck. Poison can also be connected to murder. Bada Bada Jaiken means a murder case in which the victim is chopped into pieces. Buggy is splitting Taiki's luck and poison into pieces. Taiki is shown to wear a crown over her head. One thing I noticed is, what if Buggy's name is actually Buggy the Crown? This would be parallel to Taiki's crown, and if Buggy becomes the king of the pirates, he would metaphorically have a crown on his head. She is also shown to hold a wheel of fortune. The wheel, in this context, symbolizes the wheel on a ship. Buggy is the captain, so he can guide the direction of his fate and ship. Buggy is literally changing destiny by turning the world upside down. He turned the wheel. The world can represent the wheel of fortune since both are round, just like Buggy's nose. I mentioned earlier that Taiki is often depicted with a sphere, which represents how luck can go in any direction, good or bad. Buggy is associated with the clown, and clowns are known to balance themselves on balls. Buggy is literally balancing his fate on a ball. Another interesting thing is Buggy's nose is also round like a sphere and a ball. Buggy's nose can also be tied to Taiki's sphere. Speaking of Buggy's nose, a clown's nose can also be considered a horn. When you squeeze a clown's nose, it makes a horn-like sound. I think Buggy's nose is connected to a trumpet, which is often associated with the apocalypse or the end of the world. Also, the sound of Buggy's nose horn can also symbolize the presence of a divine being like God. In the book of Revelation, John of Patmos had a vision of God handing a scroll to Jesus Christ. In this vision, John sees Jesus Christ born as the Lamb of God. The Lamb of God will open the scroll containing the 7 seals. In the book of Revelations, it states that when the Lamb opened the 7th seal, there was silence in heaven for about half an hour. Then I saw the 7 angels who stand before God, and 7 trumpets were given to them. Each trumpet represents a cataclysmic event of God's divine judgment orchestrated by an angel from heaven. What if Buggy possesses the power of Uranus? He could smite people with God's judgment. Buggy could manipulate his nose by splitting it into 7 pieces. Each piece would be capable of invoking divine judgment when blown or squeezed into. Also, there might be a Buggy seraphim, which is parallel to an angel. This seraphim could also split its nose into 7 pieces and summon God's judgment by blowing into them or squeezing them. Also, there are 7 warlords of the sea, so there should be 7 seraphims, which would each represent the 7 angels who would blow the trumpets in the book of Revelation. I believe Buggy and Luffy both symbolize fallen angels. Both have committed acts against God. Buggy was living the high life alongside the Pirate King. However, his fall from grace occurred after he ate the Bara Bara no Mi. Both Luffy and Buggy are destined to bring chaos upon the world, ultimately resulting in a new world where everyone can be free. Luffy's quest to find the One Piece will lead to cataclysmic events that will bring about the end of the world. Buggy would turn the world upside down, which would be parallel to opening the 7th seal. Buggy's nose, reminiscent of a trumpet, symbolizes the coming of the apocalypse, signifying Christ's return and God's presence in the world. As Pirate Kings, Buggy and Luffy will revolutionize the world of One Piece, reshaping it entirely. Their actions will lead to a colossal war against the government and the Marines, who are supposed to be the protectors of society but have become tyrannical. The civilians will align with the pirates as Buggy helps and supports them, while the government ignores their needs. Luffy, on the other hand, liberates kingdoms from evil individuals the government allied with, like Crocodile, Moria, and Doflamingo. Together, Buggy and Luffy will encourage the people to rise against the corrupt government. This will mark a cataclysmic turning point in the world, leading to a new era free from government corruption. This would literally be a new world. Just like in the book of Revelation where it mentions Christ coming back, the Lamb of God would symbolize the awakening of the god of the wild, Pan. The wild can mean nature and life living with nature. In my nature video, I talk about how Luffy represents the god Pan. Pan dying means nature is dying. Civilization is relying too much on technology and forgot how it all came to be. I think the resurrection of the Lamb of God can be compared to the awakening of Pan, the god of the wild. Both events seem to be connected to Luffy's own resurrection and awakening. The Lamb of God, like Luffy, experienced a rebirth from death. It's intriguing to note that Luffy's awakening might lead to an apocalypse, akin to the events described in the book of Revelations. Luffy died in Wano and was reborn. The land of Wano soon recovered its lush nature and land. St. Augustine states that, in the Lamb of God and the Lion of God, who is this, both lamb and lion? He endured death as a lamb, he devoured it as lion. Who is this, both lamb and lion? Gentle and strong, lovable and terrifying, innocent and mighty, silent when he was being judged, roaring when he comes to judge. Why a lamb in his passion? Because he underwent death without being guilty of any iniquity. Why a lion in his passion? Because in being slain, he slew death. Why a lamb in his resurrection? Because his innocence is everlasting. Why a lion in his resurrection? Because everlasting also is his might. The Lamb of God stands for the death Christ endured as a lamb, the sacrifice Christ made. The lion stands for Christ devouring his death. Christ conquered death by dying. Luffy died and was able to beat death like the Lion of God and was resurrected. He came back as the sun god. A lion can represent the sun. Babylonians saw the lion as a symbol of victory for the sun. Luffy can be seen as the Lamb of God and the Lion of God. This reminds me of the goddess Nike. She is the goddess of victory, which is parallel to Luffy being the sun god Nika, since Nike is also referred to as Nika. Also, Taiki and Nike sound very similar. The symbol, the lamb with the lion, is meant to represent the Messianic age in Christianity. The Messianic age / kingdom, or Peaceable Kingdom is a time where there's peace, which is referred to in the book of Isaiah, a future period of time when the Messiah will reign and bring universal peace to the earth. This might be connected to the One Piece, since there's peace in the title. The new world after the apocalypse will have peace and freedom, the world Buggy and Luffy will create. They shall beat their swords and plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation will not lift sword against nation, and they will no longer study warfare. The weapons mentioned in this piece from the book of Isaiah can represent Nika's weapons, seen in the Nika silhouette. Nika is holding a sword and spear. Nika's silhouette can represent the world becoming a peaceable kingdom. I believe wanting true freedom is linked to having Conqueror's Haki. In chapter 585, Luffy, Sabo, and Ace each wished to be free. Their dreams involved venturing out to sea and becoming captains of their own crews, each leading their own path. They didn't want to be part of each other's crews, emphasizing their desire to be a conqueror. Buggy had no desire to be in Shanks' crew, since both he and Shanks wanted to pursue their own separate paths as pirates. Usopp would even say he was the captain. In chapter 41, when he first joined the Straw Hats, he said he was going to be the captain of the crew. And in chapter 184, he refers to himself as Captain Usopp. We even see Luffy versus Usopp. They were fighting for the Mary. Usopp stood up against his captain. Usopp seems to have the qualities of a king, the king of comedy. In my Love Haki Conquers All video, I talk about the idea of love haki and comedy haki. Y'all should check it out. There seems to be a connection between Conqueror's Haki and comedy haki. This type of haki targets a person's spirit and is triggered by emotions, which can either uplift or cut one's spirit. Love haki and comedy haki are likely tied to emotions, and the author, Oda, cleverly uses haki to convey emotions to the readers, creating impactful and humorous scenes. For instance, when Usopp used his hammer against Perona, it showcased a comedic tone while hitting her spirit emotionally, almost like a tangible form of Conqueror's Haki. I believe Usopp possesses a unique ability to transfer Conqueror's Haki onto objects, like his hammer and rubber bands, and even into his lives. His exceptional observation Haki allows him to perceive the emotions and spirit of others, enabling him to attack using his emotions. By inflicting others with emotions, he gains access to Conqueror's Haki. Thanks to Usopp's great skill and observation Haki, he can sense and observe the emotions of others. He's able to snipe their emotions with his attacks. Usopp's emotions played a crucial role in his encounter with Sugar, as he used fear to knock out Sugar. The heat of the grape enhanced his haki, and his emotions manifested into a horrific form that damaged Sugar's spirit. The connection between emotions and haki, particularly Conqueror's and comedy haki, allows characters like Usopp to manipulate and affect other spirits through psychological attacks. Usopp's lies are deeply connected to his spirit/will. He possesses a remarkable ability to persuade others into believing his imaginative tales. In chapter 184, during the Alabasta arc, Usopp faced off against Mr. 4 and Miss Merry Christmas. Usopp's adversaries actually believed him when he claimed to wield a 5-ton hammer. Surprisingly, when Usopp struck Mr. 4 with his 5-ton hammer, the impact seemed to hurt him, leaving him half buried in the sand. The hammer literally squished Mr. 4. He pretty much got the St. Charlos treatment. In reality, the hammer only weighed about 7 pounds and was nothing more than 2 frying pans covered in paper mache. However, Usopp's deception not only fooled Mr. 4, but also Miss Merry Christmas and even Chopper. Miss Merry Christmas noticed no bump on Mr. 4's head after the attack, showing that it was an attack on his spirit rather than a physical injury. The finishing blow against Mr. 4 was a combination of a rubber band and a hammer, which is interesting because both Luffy and Usopp incorporate rubber into their attacks. In chapter 87, during the Arlong Park arc, Usopp used his rubber band of doom against Shu. This attack not only frightened Shu, but also targeted his emotions, demonstrating Usopp's ability to strike at the spirits of his opponents. We see that Luffy's smile left an effect on Usopp. Usopp wants to smile like Luffy. He wants to be free like him. Luffy liberated Usopp from his island. This prompted him to prove himself as a great warrior, capable of conquering anything. He would show Shu that he can be free just like Luffy. I believe the rubber band of doom was infused with Usopp's Conqueror's Haki, but showcased in a comedic manner, which could be referred to as comedy haki. While the audience found it humorous, Usopp's attack actually hurt Shu's spirit significantly. Overall, Usopp's incredible storytelling, his ability to bend reality, and his skillful use of deception and attacks make him truly a unique and versatile member of the Straw Hat crew. Usopp can use his lies to mess with the emotions of his opponents, which would give him an advantage in battle. Usopp can literally stretch reality just like Luffy but with lies. Usopp possesses limitless imagination. 2 statues were constructed to honor Usopp, one in Dressrosa and the other in Skypia's Wagumu land. It seems that no other character in the series has been commemorated with 2 statues, making Usopp unique in this regard. The intriguing aspect of Wagumu land is that its name translates to Rubber Band Land. The amusement park was established after Usopp introduced rubber bands to the people of Skypia. These rubber bands hold immense value for the Skypians, as they are made of a material that happens to be Enel's natural weakness. Usopp himself claimed that his rubber band of doom from chapter 296 was responsible for 90% of the work with chopping down Giant Jack. The Skypians loved the rubber bands so much that they made a statue in dedication for Usopp. The rubber band can serve as a symbol of how one's imagination can be stretched and expanded. Wagumu Land's rainbow backdrop further emphasizes this theme, and it relates to Usopp's tendency to stretch the truth through his resourceful imagination. Additionally, the rubber connects Usopp to Luffy, as Usopp is able to harness the power of the sun god Nika, which is linked to rubber. We witness Usopp effectively employing rubber bands against opponents like Chu and Mr. Four. What if Usopp uses Luffy as a rubber band? They combine both of their imaginations into reality. Usopp will stretch Luffy like a slingshot. Both Luffy and Usopp have attacks that are inspired by guns. Usopp is a sniper while Luffy literally has an attack called Gum Gum Pistol. Usopp and Luffy's special tag team rubber band of doom will be a very strong attack. We've seen Luffy put on goggles while fighting Rob Lucci. He literally made them appear out of thin air. What if Luffy can turn into goggles for Usopp, or make him a pair of goggles with his devil fruit? These goggles will enhance Usopp's observation haki. It may even give him future sight since Luffy can use it. Another thing that might happen is Luffy throwing lightning onto Usopp's hammer. We've seen Luffy grab lightning in his fight against Kaido. Usopp's hammer will become Mjolnir. What if the Sogeking mask possesses the spirit of a god or another person? Isn't it strange that the government kept it in a briefcase? Were they safeguarding something other than just Robin? In chapter 365, a briefcase is open on the floor of the sea train, revealing the Sogeking mask inside. CP9, the same group that had Luffy's fruit, were holding the Sogeking mask. It's interesting how history seems to repeat itself, as Usopp's father was involved in a plot to steal the Hito no Mi model Nika from CP9 and the government. In chapter 384, we see Usopp take off the Sogeking mask. I believe Usopp's soul gets taken over by the Sniper King's soul. So in other words, the mask takes over the spirits of people. The mask found a perfect host with Usopp, one who has strong emotions and a big heart. Usopp became the avatar for the Sogeking. The idea is that Usopp was emotionally devastated after being beaten by Frankie and losing to Luffy in their fight. Usopp's spirit was vulnerable in this state. I believe Usopp's soul got taken over by the Sniper King's soul. In the movie The Mask with Jim Carrey, we learn that the mask belonged to Loki and served as an avatar for him. Loki is associated with Norse mythology and is often referred to as the Prince of Mischief. Well, Loki is the Prince of Elbaf in the One Piece world. What if Sogeking is a deity from Elbaf? In the Mask movie, the mask changed the personality of Jim Carrey's character. Apparently, it's because the mask awakens your innermost desires. Well, Usopp's desires are to be a legendary warrior of the sea. The mask awakens these desires for Usopp, which would explain why Sniper Island is located in the heart, because that's where Usopp's desires are located. The Sogeking mask may be a national treasure for Elbaf. Prince Loki may be named after a god with the same name, and that god's spirit is inside the Sogeking's mask. In the movie, you can also see Jim Carrey holding a hammer just like Usopp, and Usopp is the perfect host for the masked spirit. I believe Usopp can access Sogeking through his emotions. Since Sniper Island resides in the heart, emotions are believed to play a significant role in developing Haki, similar to Garp's Fist of Love. So I believe Usopp may be controlled by Sogeking, suggesting that Sogeking might be an independent entity. I think the mask found a perfect soul in Usopp, which much like the Wado Ichimonji finding the ideal wielder in Zoro, I think the mask found a perfect soul in Usopp, resulting in a transformation whenever Usopp puts on the mask. In chapter 465, Sogeking is even talking to Usopp. This is probably proof of the mask containing some kind of spirit in it. Thanks for watching my video. If you have any comments, leave them down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Peace.